Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. We are going to discuss today a topic under the FAR193, concept of healthy settings. So we are going to discuss today the overview, the origins, the history of healthy settings, and some of the theory and practice related to the healthy setting. The origins of healthy setting came way back since 1977 under the concept of health for all. And it also come to appear again and being well established globally through the Ottawa Charter in 1986. At that time, the idea was that we want to have a new model, a new public health socio-ecological model, where we are trying to focus on health as in health and not illness alone. So in Ottawa Charter in 1986, it was said that health is created and lived by people within the settings of their everyday life where they learn, work, play, and live. So the policy of healthy setting came, like I said earlier on, way back in 1977, when we have the policy where we say that health for all in the year 2000. And this is followed by 1986, the Ottawa Charter, followed by 1991, Sundsville Statement, Agenda 21 in 1992, Jakarta Declarations in 1997, and in 1998, WHO has defined setting for health in its glossary. In 1999, Health 21, Target 13 actually mentioned and states setting for health in their targets. And in 2001, the WHO European Office put in healthy setting inside the investment for health and development policy. There are a number of initiatives which follows this policy. In 1986, Healthy Cities Project has been established. 1988, there is a number of health promoting hospitals project. 1991, Health Promoting Schools Network. 1992, Region for Health Network. 1995, Health and Prison Project. 1998, Health Promoting Universities Book. So you can see there as well, there's a lot of initiative being done in various settings, including the hospitals, including the schools, including prisons, universities. So in health educations, setting plays an important role to try to educate the populations regarding health. So it is one of the important three dimensions in health education metric. So what is healthy setting? It is the place or social context in which people engage in daily activities in which environmental, organizational, and personal factors interact to affect health and well-being. A setting is also where people actively use and shape the environment and thus create or solve problems relating to health. Settings can normally be identified as having physical boundaries, a range of people with defined rules, and an organizational structure. So this is how setting for health was defined in the WHO Health Promotion Glossary back in 1998. The aim in this healthy setting is to integrate a commitment to health within culture, structures, process, and routine life of organizational and other settings. So you live with health, you breathe with health, you do with health. So anything that we have in the organization will be related to health. So why? Because all this time, what happened is that the thinking is that health is usually produced outside the organizations, where, for example, specifically in the hospital. Okay. So we always associate health only with hospital. So which is why anything that when you fall sick, okay, or when you want to know how healthy you are or how to be healthy, you go to the hospitals. So, but by right, health improvement, it requires investment in the social system in which people live their life. So setting approach, they represent a tangible way of investing for health at local level. So where health is no longer considered as an external of the organizations, but considered as an important investment, where health will be an asset for the development and activity of organizations. So in Ottawa chapter, health is actually comprised of multiple dimensions in multiple sectors. Okay? So the process and strategies outlined in the Ottawa Charter doesn't only focus on the healthcare, where illness is taken care of, but also health in leisure and recreations, in the criminal justice, in education, in work, in community. So where does this healthy setting be? So in any organizations, it can be in workplace, okay? It can be in your dormitory, it can be in health and social care, in schools, university, prisons, clubs, homes. So any organizations which can be considered as a setting would be where we can actually organize a setting initiative. So this healthy setting ideally would have a coordinator, because if you don't have a champion, people who coordinate, who actually lead and also establish the initiative for healthy setting, so it might deviate from the healthy focus that we want. Okay? So the coordinator can actually employ several stakeholders inside the organizations. So for example, if you have schools, you have a coordinator, healthy school coordinator. So there are stakeholders which will play important parts in this initiative, would include students, of course, teachers, non-teaching staff, governors, school nurse, parents, carers, community group at a larger scale. Okay? Outside the school, you have community group, you have youth service, okay? You have police, you have businesses, you have health and social care, you have faith organizations. So all of them, those who are within the organizations and outside the organizations, both parties can actually play an important role to establish school as a healthy setting. So how do we do it? There are three focus areas when we want to establish and implement healthy setting. First, we have to create a supportive, healthy living and working environment. So if you do not have a good ventilations in your dormitory or in this lecture hall, it's not healthy. If you're sitting, the chair that you are sitting to study is lack back support, it's not healthy. If the table, the study place that you focus and study and also try to listen to my video today have lack of lighting, hurt your eyes, it's not healthy. So it is the first focus that we need to have is to create a supportive, healthy living and working environment. Second, we need to integrate health development into daily activities. And this is where we can see some office initiate where you and encourage people to actually take the stairs instead of the elevators. This is so that you can integrate your health into your daily activities. So we force and recommend people to actually exercise, do some healthy activities instead of sedentary activities. Third, to develop link with other settings and wider community. So where we try to overlap our setting with the rest. So what we can have here, okay, so you have a University Science in Malaysia, for example. So you can actually overlap the initiative that you have with the people who are living outside USM. For example, people in Sungai Dua, or maybe as far as Balik Pulau. So maybe what we can have is a gotong royong to make sure that the environment is healthy and remain free from vectors like the mosquitoes, the vectors for dengue. So this is actually how we can integrate the third focus area in the setting. So we have to realize that by now that healthy setting is a multidisciplinary whole system social ecological approach where we try to integrate the value of participations. So it's not only the job of the doctors or the nurses in the organizations to actually establish this healthy setting, but it's the job for the whole units inside the organizations. Equity, So we want to champion equity in terms of healthy setting. So healthy setting is not only for the boss, for the vice chancellor, or for the dean, but for everyone, including yourself, students. Partnership, we want to make sure that everyone work together for this healthy setting and make sure that it is sustainable. We don't want a one-off initiative. Once you do it, so everyone actually try to walk to your school, to your lecture hall today, but then just for today. So the next day and the after, you would see everyone just again take the unhealthy vehicle, private vehicle to their lecture hall. So we want to make sure that any initiative should be sustainable. And for this value to be integrated in the healthy setting, so you need organizational development and change in management. So the management need to make sure that this healthy setting is a priority in the organizations. And make sure that this is highly visible, innovative project. So any of this healthy setting initiative, it should be there and everyone should know about it. Okay, so you don't want to hide this. For example, if you have a bicycle lane in the university, so you promote them, you advertise them, you put signage for them, encourage people, students, lecturers, or any staff to actually use this lane. Okay, so we don't hide this lane in the bushes or inside the drains, so nobody knows of it. Okay, so we want to make sure everyone in the organizations knows about this. Secondly, we would have a top-down managerial commitment. So the boss up there need to commit themselves to it. So it's no point to have a lip service, but we also want to make sure that people at the bottom, okay, will actually engage so they know that there is a healthy setting initiative going on, and we empower them. Okay? So we empower them to take the initiative to actually, for example, in some place, they would have the students or members to actually have their own garden at the backyard of the lectures hall. So you can see actually, if you go up to the humanities schools, behind there, you can see a beautiful vegetable gardens, which is grown by the faculty member themselves. Okay. And thirdly, it should be a public health development agenda, the core business for the institution themselves. Okay. So it shouldn't be a fringe initiative, but it should be the core of the organizations. I'm going to give you some examples of how healthy settings being implemented in some place. Here we have examples in the northwest England. Okay, so they developed this initiative where they have a regional priorities that tackle the wider influence in the immediate community, for example, housing, education, crime and disorder, transport, physical environment, and they think that this is very important determinant for healthy setting. Second dimension is the lifestyles and risk factors. So they want to tackle the tobacco, diet and food, exercise, physical activities, accidents, mental health, sexual health, teenagers' pregnancy, and these are important determinants that have a big influence in the immediate community. With regards to the NHS, the National Health Service, okay, so the National Health Service has an important role to actually in employment, in purchasing, in the infrastructure, and also disseminating knowledge to the community. We also have the mainstreaming inequalities in the NHS, so that their National Health Service should actually improve access, quality and outcome for undeserved areas group. And this is actually one of the main priority inside in the Northwest England National Health Service, where they want to make sure that these undeserved groups, these minority groups, okay, for example, those who do not have English as their first native language, okay, so they have an alternative language in the put in place, displayed together with any sign in the hospital in the NHS. So this actually to allow better access for this group to the healthcare in the NHS. In addition, you have this primary care, okay, strengthening the primary care, and then you integrate them in the actions at the regional level, where you have the regional economic strategies, regional planning guidance, sustainable communities. You also have the area-based policy, where all of these policies are being integrated, where you emphasize on the joint NHS priority with any public service agreement. You have the NHS local delivery plans together with the community plans. You have the urban generations, neighborhood renewal. Okay, so some of the urban area or some of the neighborhood might be deteriorating. Okay, so you can see some vandalism here and there. So it's also an important emphasis to make sure that there is a healthy living area at that place. There should be a rural renaissance. Okay, some rural place might be neglected. Okay, so this should be looked after by the local authorities. So, and this also one of the important things is also to have a good community development. And this is where they actually try to stratify all of these initiatives according to the priority group. So you have the priority group, children and young people. You also have older people, black and ethnic minority populations, disabled persons. So these 4 groups are considered as those who without help, without assistance, might be neglected and put and infringe in terms of the initiative for healthy setting. So this setting then, in the priority then, they should put it at the setting approach where they would be initiated at the schools, workplace, and also prisons. So this is actually a big policy in West England. Okay, so where actually, in order to make sure that this is being implemented effectively, they have established a healthy setting development unit to coordinate this healthy setting policy. So this unit, the aims is to improve the health of the people of North West England and beyond by supporting and facilitating the development of the setting-based approach to health promotions and health development within the context of broad-based investment for health. So one of the products from this unit is actually they have a website, okay, which actually introduce this concept of healthy setting. So they create a buying, okay, from all the imports. Okay, so they create a conference so that then people can be more sensitized and also learn from each others of how to establish healthy setting. They created the bulletin to make sure that people are aware and all these initiatives to become highly visible to the community. Okay, so what happened is that with this total approach that they have, they actually managed to create a whole system approach that connect people, environment, and the behavior, where they link different with different health issues, either personal or corporate citizenship. So they have a lot of joined up approach that bridge the gaps between individual and the organization. So they have the coordinations and integration between them so that then they would have a maximum contributions to the healthy city or community. So all of these actually allow them to develop a lot of tools that help them to improve their healthy setting approach. And this is actually a springboard for corporate citizenship, where it is a potential for setting to use intra and inter-organizational leverage to maximize their contributions to ethical practice and sustainable regeneration and development, linking local actions to global agenda. So that was in UK. But closer to home, we actually have this healthy setting established in USM. And this is why you see what we call USM as a Campus Sejahtera, sustainable campus. Back in the days as well, back during that time, we actually changed the name of our clinic. USM clinic, it used to be called the USM Health Center. So we changed it to what we now know as Wellness Center, Pusat Sejahtera, to reflect that that center shouldn't be a center to just treat people who are sick, but actually also to promote health. And this is actually the role of this Wellness Center in USM. And USM is actually very committed for these healthy setting roles in the University Science Malaysia. In fact, for this year, in 2022, USM has been recognized by the Times Higher Educations to be the number 4 in the world in terms of the impact towards the global impact ranking, okay? And at number 1 in Asia. So we are also number 1 in the specific dimension of this global impact, where we are number 1 in terms of peace, justice, and strong institutions, and we're also number 1 in terms of partnership for the goals. So what you see here, these dimensions are actually the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. So ideally, they want the university to achieve and to contribute to the world Sustainable Development Goal. And healthy setting is one approach that actually is an important approach to achieve this Sustainable Development Goal. And USM has already established this concept of healthy setting in USM through the campus Sejahtera, Sustainable Campus. And this is also the reason why we also achieved the APEC status back in those days. And the impact from this APEC policy and continuous commitment to this healthy setting. So you can see that USM actually have a commendable rank compared to other universities in the world in terms of our achievements and contributions toward Sustainable Development Goal. So